There was a warm body next to mine when I woke up the next morning, so obviously I noticed his scent first. He had a very enticing scent, not too overpowering. It made me think of a nice sunny day in a park. I could have laid there breathing in his scent if it was not for my ringing alarm. I had overslept. I quickly grabbed my phone and checked the time. It was noon. I had missed all the other alarms that I had set for myself. My phone started to blow up with messages from my mom. She was asking me if I had gotten on my flight yet. That's right, I was supposed to be leaving soon that day to go visit my parents. Instead, I was in bed with someone, and I had no idea how I ended up here. He had his back to me and was lightly snoring. I did not want to wake him up, so I slowly got out of bed and started to gather my clothes. I was in a big apartment that appeared to be very high up. I could see the blue sky outside and it was hurting my eyes. I could not believe that I allowed my uncle to drag me out the night before I had to go home. He had just landed in town, came to my dorm, and basically kidnapped me into going out with him. I did not drink a lot, but as a lightweight, I could have taken it easy on the shots. Good thing there are no classes today, a voice suddenly said to me. Oh gosh, horror filled me. I recognized that voice. Had I slept with someone I had class with? Now things were going to be very awkward. I slowly turned around to face the man I spent the night with. My heart nearly jumped out of my chest when I saw him. I could not believe that I had slept with Professor Hottie. It was a very unoriginal nickname, but that was what people preferred to call him because he was the hottest professor at our college. He was also the youngest professor at our college, at the age of 30. Professor? I asked. I could not move. This was not possible. As I was standing there, some memories started to come back. I had partied with him the previous night. I remember laughing and chatting with him, realizing that he was not the strict academic I knew him to be. He was the last person I expected to be at the club my uncle took me. You can call me Felix, he replied instead in a friendly-looking dashing despite having woken up just now. You definitely know how to have fun, Seth, he added with a smile, flashing me his perfect teeth. I was unable to figure out how he even got here. Felix. I tested the name out on my tongue. Okay, Felix, what happened? How did we even end up back here? Are you not straight? Because I know for a fact we did more than sleep last night. I paced as I asked him all these questions. This was intense. Of course, I found him attractive just like any guy or girl on campus. I always used to think that my gaydar was always accurate, but it was clear that alcohol affected it. He suddenly got out of the bed and made his way to me. He towered over me by about 5 inches. Before I answer your question, let me make you some coffee. You are cute, but you look very tired. I know I am mostly to blame. By the way, how old are you? He asked me. Great, you do not even know how old I am. Sir, I took your class last year. I'm 22. I explained this to him as he made his way out of the room. I found myself compelled to follow him because I needed my answers. Last night when I asked you, you said you were old enough. I knew I had seen you somewhere before, but had no idea where. I'm so sorry. I'm just so bad at remembering faces. He turned to me. Tell me how you like your coffee. I told him that I liked my coffee with 2 sugar cubes and no milk, as well as strong. He made the coffee as he explained to me the few things he could remember from the previous night. You were with a man slightly older than you. You said that he was your uncle. You were really throwing down those shots. Anyways, you recognized me and were calling me sir all night. I did not really put it to mind on why you did that. I guess I'm just used to people calling me that a lot. I was there with some friends because I wanted to unleash after a long semester. I remember us talking and dancing a lot. You made it very clear from the start that you found me attractive. He explained. He set down my coffee as he did so. You are straight, right? I asked him. I was pretty sure that he should be freaked out right now. I do not really do labels, but if you want a label, I think I would be pansexual. If I find someone that I like, I am definitely down. I just have one rule, and that is I do not date. He said. Although he smiled, I couldn't help but feel the weight of his words. I wasn't sure why I was having this conversation with him, but it seemed natural enough. I really thought you were straight. You have always seemed to be pretty professional and uptight in class. I guess I made assumptions, I explained. Well, you must prevent me from making assumptions. Was this your first time with a man? He asked. No, it was not, but I'm celibate, I informed him. As I said that, I realized that I had broken my own vow to myself. I decided not to date or be involved with anyone for the whole year. I was still not over Zach. Speaking of, I remember that there was a woman who visited him a lot. They always seemed pretty close and had matching rings. We all assumed that they were engaged. By any chance, are you? I did not get to finish my sentence because my phone rang. It was my uncle. Take it. I need to go and shower. He left me feeling very confused. I quickly answered the phone and had to pull it from my ear because of all the noise. Your mother is going to kill me! Where have you been? Joseph asked. She has every right to kill you. I told you that I wanted to grab a beer and go home. Instead, you dragged me with you knowing I had a flight the following day, I shouted. He always did this. He was only 2 years older than me, and we were very close. He was also a party animal and always dragged me with him when he was in town. Usually, I left early, and he would find his way home. It does not matter. I got you a flight for this evening. I told your mom that you're feeling sick and had managed to sleep through the alarm. I'm so sorry. He sounded very pitiful when he said that. Fine, let me get out of here. You will not believe whose house I am in. Talk to you later. I hung up. I had everything that I needed. I got a piece of paper and wrote to him, telling him that I needed to go. I got home, showered, got some more rest, and then made my way to the airport. This time I did not miss my flight. 2 weeks later. I don't know. It looks like they are together, my sister said as she looked through Felix's Instagram. I could not believe that she found all of his social media accounts. Thanks to her, I now knew he graduated high school 2 years early, was a genius, his 2 parents were doctors, and he had a brother in the army. The most bizarre part about this was that some of these accounts were not even under his full name. He had personalized usernames, and yet it had taken my sister less than an hour to find him. I am a homewrecker, I sighed. Maybe they are in an open relationship, Zach chimed in. He was on a video call with me and helping us discern the mystery. He was the first person that I talked about what happened because we do not keep secrets. He knew about my vow and was not forcing me to keep it. My relationship with Zach was complicated. He was my first boyfriend. We dated till college and then he moved to another country. We carried on dating for a while, but it was hard to make it long distance. We started seeing other people, but stayed friends. There was always something between us. We could never stop loving each other. About a year ago, we admitted to it. We decided that we were going to take a break from dating and sleeping with other people. However, if one of us did meet someone, they had to tell the other. Our vow of celibacy was my idea. I just could not stop thinking of him with another person. About 2 months ago, he broke that vow. He met someone that he's in a process of getting to know. He told me as soon as that happened. I was sad, but I understood that we could not wait forever. With the way things were going, it would be years before we met. That was what I told him, but deep down I was heartbroken. I still loved him a lot. I told him that I was going to remain celibate for a while longer. I did not really have the time and emotional capacity to deal with someone. Besides, temporary fun was not my thing. He still told me that I did not need to be, and that I needed to go out there and meet new people. Now I had met someone that I could not keep out of my mind. It was quickly turning into an obsession. The whole 2 weeks I was at home, I thought about him at night. I replayed the few things I could remember over and over in my head. A feeling stayed within me. That feeling of wanting more. I just did not think it was a good idea. I really think that you should contact him, Zach suggested. He said that he does not date, and probably because he has someone. I reminded the two of them. So I did all of this work for nothing. Anyways, I would like my payment now, my sister said. Here are the keys. If you put even one scratch on my bike, I will end you." I handed her the keys to my motorbike. She left Zach and me to talk. We stopped talking about Felix and moved on to another topic. I realized something while talking to him. I did not feel so jealous of him and his boyfriend anymore. Interesting. Maybe getting over someone is easy when you find someone else to distract you, I said to myself later that night when I could not even sleep. A few weeks later, it was just my luck that I bumped into him on my very first week back. I could not sleep once again, so I decided to go for a run. It was only recently that I realized running helped me to keep my mind off things. I had been seeing him all week and avoiding him. Every time I looked at him, I felt something like fire light up inside me. That night was now etched into my brain and my body. Even though I did not remember much, it did not matter. I remembered enough to know that I had to stay away from him. I listened to some music as I did a quick round. There were a few people walking about, but I had music on. I did not notice that someone was behind me and had been calling me. Suddenly, someone tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around and I was faced with Felix. "I could have sworn that you were avoiding me. I almost thought I dreamt you up," he said and laughed. "What are you doing here so late at night?" I asked him instead, a little warily. "I was working. I just finished and now I'm on my way to my car." He pointed in a certain direction. "Okay, it was good to see you. I need to go," I told him. As I was about to turn back around, I noticed something. His eyes looked red. "Are you high?" I asked him. "What? No, I'm a professor." As if that was any kind of explanation. It was stupid, but I knew he had taken something. He wiped his eyes, and I saw that the hand that usually had a ring on it did not have it. I decided not to ask any questions. "I know we don't know each other well, but you seem to not be okay," I said with as much caution as possible. "I am fine," he suddenly hissed. As he did, I noticed that he sounded a bit slurry. The next thing I knew, he collapsed in my arms. I dragged him to the bench nearby and sat him up. I quickly sniffed him, but could tell that he was not drunk nor high. What the hell was wrong with him? 5 hours later. Felix stirred a bit and opened his eyes. He sat up and looked at me, not speaking. I handed him a bottle of water. He took it without a word and quickly emptied it. "What happened?" I asked. "I'm so sorry that you had to see that. I need to go now." He tried to stand up, but couldn't really move. I gently pushed him down. "There is no way that I'm letting you go at this time. You might fall asleep at the wheel." "What happened? Where's your ring? Did you fight with your fiancé?" I'd question after question for him. "I'm not engaged." He looked at me with a funny expression on his face. "Then who is that woman you are always with?" I asked. "That is my so-called best friend. I just found out some days ago that she is taking credit for research that we did together. She just stole a job in Japan from me." "What in the world?" I was horrified. "I do not want to talk to her anymore. I just want to get home and rest. I have work tomorrow," he said, sounding and looking more depressed than before, if possible. "Why did you pass out?" I asked. "I think I took my sleeping pills instead of my anxiety meds," he confessed. I sighed. He looked pathetic. "Listen, if you need to talk or vent, do it with me. You can sleep over and wake up in the morning," I told him. "I don't know. I just feel so defeated. How could she do that to me when we have been through so much?" he started. Over the next hour, he vented to me about what she did. He said that she must have been jealous because he was getting opportunities that she was not. He did not want to see her ever again. He also confessed that she used to be the only person who made him feel safe, and now he feels lost without her. I eventually ended up in bed with him as he told me the story. At some point, he drifted off to sleep and I did the same. The next day, I felt empty. That was the first feeling I felt when I woke up. He had left a man-sized space on the side of my bed. I could still smell him. His unique scent washed over me for a couple of minutes. After a while, I woke up and made myself some food. I did not have class till later, so I just caught myself up on some assignments. After doing that, I got started with the cleaning. I wanted to wash my sheets, but I could not bring myself to. They smelled too good. As I was cleaning my room, I noticed a note by me beside the bed. It was from Felix, and it read, "Thanks for last night. I had an early lecture, so I had to go. Let me make it up to you by cooking you dinner tomorrow. It's not a date, I just want to thank you for listening without judgment." He then added his phone number at the bottom. I quickly saved his number, but I did not text him all day. I also did not see him all day. I talked to Zach about it, and he suggested I go. I told him that maybe I was becoming too integrated into this man's life. I think that you two could help each other relieve stress. Besides, you are only there for one more semester, right? He suggested. I will go for dinner, only because I am tired of ramen and could use some home-cooked food, I said just to shut him up. I see the sparkle in your eye when you talk about him. It's good to see. He smiled. There is nothing going on. Why does it feel like you're trying to make this a thing? So you do not feel guilty about cheating? The words were out of my mouth before I could even think. He seemed to take offense. We are no longer together. Seth, you said that you were fine with what happened. He raised his voice. You slept with other people and made me think that there was still hope for us, I reminded him. Gosh, why do you have to make everything so damn personal? He asked, sounding frustrated. I'm not making anything personal, just... Never mind. I sighed. It just seems like you're not over me, and I do not know what to do. We live in different countries. It could be years before we see each other again, he exclaimed, a little louder this time. I have to go. Sorry for snapping. I lost all my strength trying to fight him. I then had a WTF moment as I scrolled through my phone. Maybe I did deserve to have a little bit of fun. Felix was very good looking, funny, and there was a chemistry. I, too, deserved nice things and had been depriving myself because of someone who was over me. Suddenly, I knew what I had to do. The following night, I checked myself in the mirror one last time before I exited the car. I looked decent. I had just gotten a fresh haircut and was feeling good. I texted Felix to let him know that I was downstairs, and he let me up. He was wearing a tank top with an apron. I sat in the kitchen and watched him cook while we talked. We avoided any serious topics. There was some light banter and flirting, but nothing too exciting. About 30 minutes after I arrived at the place, dinner was ready. I already set up the dining room. You can go and wait for me there. He pointed in the direction of the dining room. I made myself comfortable and waited for him. He came with the food a couple minutes later, and then we dug in. My God, this food is amazing! I felt all of the different flavors mingling in my mouth. I like the look in your eyes when you were eating. It's very encouraging, he said. I felt my cheeks heating up. Thank you. So, how was the rest of your week? I asked. Well, the rest of my week was okay. I'm so sorry for the mental breakdown. I usually have more self-control, he confessed. Don't apologize. It is very valid to feel that way. I did what anyone would have done, I replied with a small smile. We continued to eat dinner, talking about other things. At some point, he told me that I had something on my cheek. I know, very classic. I laughed and tried to take it off. He just shook his head at me. Let me, he said as he leaned in close to me and I breathed in his scent. For a second, I was dazed. It always struck me just how much his presence can momentarily stun me. I had been doing a very good job at keeping my attraction to him under wraps all evening. What he did was pure evil. Now my face was burning when he touched it. What is on your mind? You look lost in thought. He narrowed his eyes at me. Wouldn't you like to know? I shot back. Well, I will tell you what is on my mind right now. What is it? You are sitting far from me. He smirked. I gasped. That was out of the blue. I looked down. Oh, sorry, I've creeped you out. Gosh, now you probably think this dinner is a date. He said. He sounded like he was panicking. Can I confess something? I asked. Please do. Maybe it will make me feel less awkward. He gave a small laugh. I cannot stop thinking about that night, the night I spent here. I've been depriving myself of any sort of touch for a while. Now that I got it, I cannot really stop thinking about it, I said. He regarded me for a moment before responding. I wish I remembered more of that night, he responded. Maybe we should recreate it, I suggested. I thought you would never say that, he growled. The next thing I knew, he had stood up, bent down, and kissed me gently. I could not do it gently, not with the desire burning deep inside me. I needed something a lot more. The next thing I knew, we had left the dinner table. He stopped for a moment and looked at me. Your hair looks perfect. It took me a lot to not kiss you as soon as you walked through that door, he confessed, his breath heavy. I thanked him with a deep kiss. A month later. Okay, who is the sneaky link? My sister asked. I don't know what you're talking about, I answered. Hot professor? Oh my god, are you having an affair? Her eyes literally bulged out of her head. Ella, please stop talking nonsense and let me know how to cover this, I sighed. Just wear a scarf to cover the love bite. She laughed with glee. She was enjoying it too much. It is hot outside. I told you it was an insect bite, I said as I rolled my eyes at her. I did not feel that comfortable telling her about my situation with Felix. He was still a faculty member, even though he was not teaching me. The last thing I wanted was for everyone at school to know. Besides, he loved to keep his romantic life and work life separate. No one needed to know who kept his bed warm. At that moment, it was me. I was sure that I was not the only one he was with. I was not that delusional to think I was special. I tried not to think about it and enjoy our little arrangement. I spent most nights at his house. In the morning, I would drive back home and go to class. No one noticed at all. Usually, we had dinner and then both of us got our work done. It was not just sleeping together. We just preferred each other's company. Studying while with him was actually comfortable and I got a lot of work done. Afterward, we would usually fall asleep together. He knew about my fight with Zach and was always there to listen to me vent. We did not have a label. We just were. And I preferred it that way. I sighed as my sister carried on talking too much. I realized there was nothing much I could do but tell her some part of the truth. He is not engaged. That woman was his former best friend. We've been hanging out lately. No strings attached, I revealed. Okay, you need to go to a makeup store and get a color corrector as well as a concealer. Once you are there, just ask someone to help you pick your perfect shade, she suggested. That's all? I spilled my guts for that? I asked. I could not believe her. She laughed and hung up on me. 3 weeks later. How did it go? I asked as soon as he opened the door. I did well. I will have to wait to hear back, he said as he pulled me in and hugged me. We stayed like that for a while. I missed you too much, he confessed. Oh, okay, I answered. I looked for somewhere to set my bag. You don't like that? He asked. Well, it's good to know that I'm your favorite toy, I said. I could not look at him nor fight the lump in my throat. Seth, what is going on? You have been off lately, he inquired. I think we should stop seeing each other. I said what I had been keeping in for days. What? I cannot stand wondering who else you are with. I don't think I can do something this open, I confessed. I had been thinking about how I felt for a while and I realized that I needed to be very honest. We need to talk. Grab a seat. All of the humor had left his eyes. I nodded and followed him. I have taken a liking to you, Seth, he said. Thanks, I guess. I said. But I'm not sure if I'm the right person for you, he shared. I know, you don't date like you've been telling me a million times, I sighed. You have been the only person I've been seeing lately. The truth is that you're the first person to make me feel safe in a while. After losing my best friend, you were there for me, and you stopped me from spiraling. I found myself calling you over more and more as the weeks passed. I think it is because of how safe you make me feel, he told me. But you do not date, I reminded him. I have not minded seeing the same person for weeks. In fact, it is so much better than scrolling apps or going into clubs. I honestly haven't been seeing anyone else since you. I just do not know how to properly be in a relationship, he told me. I understand. We've only known each other for a few months, but thank you for your honesty, I replied. We can just take it slow and see where it goes. But I do like you as more than a friend, he confessed to me. I smiled because this was much more than I expected. The next day was a Saturday, so I could sleep in for as long as I wanted to. He usually had some work to do on Saturday, so I would leave afterward. However, before he left that morning, he asked if I could stay till he came back. I could not wipe the smile off my face for hours afterward. I spent the day catching up on some work, doing some cleaning, and texting him. He had never let me be in his space when he was not at home. For me, that signified a change. By letting me in his space, I feel like he was showing me that he trusted me. When he came back home, there was a hot meal ready for him. It was my first time cooking for him. He was the one who usually did the cooking if we did not order in. He loved the food that I made and came back for seconds. The next weekend, we did the same thing until it became routine. My friends started to complain that I hardly spent time with them because I was studying. What they did not know was that I was busy getting closer to the hottest professor on campus. 3 months later. Hey, babe, I have just arrived home. I traveled safely. I will text you in a bit because we are driving home now. I shot off a text to Felix. Okay, please video call me as soon as possible. I miss you already, he responded. I cannot wait 2 more weeks for you to get here. My family is dying to meet you, I told him. Hey bro, you've not even noticed my new hair color, my sister sighed. I looked up from the phone. In 3 months, we had only managed to get closer and closer. Our families knew each other, and in 2 weeks' time, he was coming to meet mine. My parents were a little concerned about the age gap in the beginning, but now they were fine. I had also introduced him to Zach on a call less than a month ago. Things with Zach had gotten back to normal once I started spending time with Felix. I was graduating soon. Then we would be free to let the whole world know that we were together. It did not matter to me whether anyone knew or not. All I cared about was the fact that the most important people in my life knew him and supported us. I was nervous as hell about introducing him to my family, but I knew he would charm them. These little steps that we had been taking over the past couple of months meant something. When he told me that he wanted to see this through, he was not joking. We were slowly making progress, and it was so natural for us to call each other endearing terms like babe now. For someone who claimed to not date, he was actually more romantic than me. Once he got his confession out of the way, he started to do a few more things freely. The future was uncertain, but I know one thing. I was going to get a job in his city and move close to him to make our relationship easier. I did not plan on moving in too soon. My uncle advised me against that. He said that it could easily ruin things. He told me to just go with the natural progression. Of course, he takes all the credit for our meeting. Any chance that he gets, he tells me that it was thanks to him taking me out that night that we met. He is right though. If he had not basically kidnapped me from my dorm, then I would have never bumped into my Felix. 2 weeks later. Before we go to meet my parents, I want to take you somewhere, I said to him. He had landed the previous night, and I had been in his hotel first thing. I am at your disposal. He smiled as he pulled me in for a kiss. You are not even going to ask? I asked. If you were a serial killer, you would have killed me already. I will follow you anywhere, love. He smiled as he said this. My heart warmed when he said the word love. We had not said the word to each other yet, though we did use it when we described things the other person did. I wanted to say it to him before the end of the holiday, but I was so nervous. I'd been fighting with myself because I did not want to do it too soon or too quickly. Let us go then. We do not have time. I took his hand and led him to a place that I always visited when I was home. It was a beautiful park with a stream running through it. There we had a picnic and laid in the grass for hours, talking about anything and everything. My heart felt like it was going to explode from bliss. In every way, he showed me that he cared for me and adored me. Words were not needed. Him being here and making the commitment to meeting my parents was more than enough. I had no idea that such a beautiful place existed. Thank you for taking me here. He announced later that evening, and hugged me as if that would convey the feelings better between us. Then, before we fell asleep, he added gently, "You're the best boyfriend ever." No, you are. I smiled and thought, could a person die from happiness? Conclusion. 2 weeks later, he came to my town to see my parents. It was awkward for a bit, but they slowly warmed up to him. We are still going strong and have come out to the world about our relationship. My friends were shocked, but supportive of our relationship. The end. Can friends with benefits ever turn into a real relationship? Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing and liking to support our Rainbow Force. Until next time.